The NBA draft is coming up soon, and every year I always find it interesting to see how the draft picks of the past turn out. Well, some draft picks turn out really well, some have turned out really bad.
Anthony Bennett of Toronto.
And every year, there are some prospects who go under the radar that end up shocking everyone and surviving and sometimes even thriving in the NBA. The John Starks, Bruce Bowens, and Udonis Haslams of the NBA world. And while there are some draft prospects this year who have either declared or are draft eligible who I feel like aren't getting enough attention, if any at all. So, here's almost a lottery full of draft prospects who I feel like will have a major impact throughout their future pro basketball careers. I decided to split this list up by where they've played before the draft, and I decided to take people who last played overseas and also in NCAA Divisions III, II, and I, and I'll go in that order for the prospects. Also, some of the prospects haven't officially declared for the draft, but most of the non-declared college prospects are seniors, which kind of automatically makes them eligible, or are international prospects. However, for each tier, I'll start off with anyone who actually declared and then go into the other draft eligible players. For the international section, we have 5 prospects from all over the globe, and we'll start with Gui Santos, who last played for 123 Minas in Novo Basquete Brazil, and also represents Brazil internationally. In 37 games for Minas this season, Santos averaged 10.1 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists on 43.1% from the field, 29.8% from 3, and 74.8% from the free throw line, while adding in almost a steal and block per game. The 19-year-old from Brazil has been playing in the MBB for the past 4 years, so he would bring professional experience to the next level. The one game I watched, his game on January 29th against União Corinthians, was probably one of his best of the season. In 34 minutes, he would drop 18, 9, and 9 along with 4 blocks and a steal, and to me, this game shows the best and worst in Santos. We saw a lot of Gui's playmaking and shot creation abilities as well as his shot blocking abilities. However, I also saw some concerns with this game. First are his occasional sacking off the 3-point line on defense, and while in this game it didn't lead to anything, it's something that can be exploited. His efficiency from 3 is another problem, and I'm sure he'll take less 3s than the 3 he already takes per game in Brazil, but overall, Santos is an intriguing prospect. A young forward with a plethora of experience in Brazil who already shows existing skill both on offense and defense as well as a high upside. While I could imagine him needing some development time or spending some more time in Brazil, I imagine him being a mainstay on NBA rosters afterwards.
Tentou passe ali de futebol americano, interceptação do Corvalan pra cravadaça mais uma vez!
Next prospect on the list is Kie van der Verst de Vries, a 6'4" Belgian guard who played for Ondeste, a Belgian club who plays in both the BNXT League, which is a combined league between Belgium and the Netherlands, and the Basketball Championship League in Europe, and also represents Belgium nationally. In 46 games for Ondeste this past season, he would average 7.3 points, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists on 42% from the field, 32.6% from 3, and 90.4% from the charity stripe. The game I watched was in the Basketball Championship League against Unicaja Malaga, where Van der Verst de Vries would drop 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists in about 20 minutes off the bench. Van der Verst de Vries is an offensive spark plug off the bench for Ondeste, and I saw that throughout the game I watched. Kie can do everything for a team on the offensive end, however, he can get too pass happy at times, as he had 4 turnovers in that game, but that might just be that game, as he has an assist-to-turnover ratio above 2 across all leagues last season. His defense isn't anything notable, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Think of like a campaign-like player for him, a guy who can provide a spark off the bench for an NBA team, but can be a bit turnover-prone and could be lackluster on the defensive side, but his offensive strength usually overpowers weaknesses. The opposite of Van der Verst de Vries is Hai Sakon, a 6'4" guard who represents the Indian national team and is not declared for the draft, but is draft eligible. In the 6 games for India in the 2021 Asia Cup qualifying, Sakon averaged 7.2 points, 1.7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and a half a steal on 47.6% from the field, 57.1% from 3, and 42.9% from the free throw line, with all those being unlimited shots. While the half a steal a game isn't anything notable, the stats don't paint the whole picture. In the game I watched where he played against Iraq, it shows his defensive prowess. Throughout the game, you can see him make multiple defensive shifts that show that, despite his lack of basketball experience, he can make high IQ decisions on the defensive end. While I don't trust him to be my primary or even secondary ball handler, he can make a few good offensive plays. However, his offensive abilities for now just involve him being a hustle guy and cutting man. But what he does well. And while he isn't going for the 2022 draft, I imagine that in 2023 or 2024, he'll get some looks from NBA teams.
Lovely pass inside to Briguvanci. Can't get the score, but the follow is good from Sekon.
Another draft-eligible international prospect is Corey Samuels, a 6-foot guard from England who last played for the Bristol Flyers in the British Basketball League. In 27 games for the Flyers, he averaged 2.2 points, 1.1 rebounds, and 1.2 assists on 28.8% from the field, 21.7% from 3, and 58.6% from the free throw line. The game I watched, which was the January 21st game against Sheffield, shows me that Samuels can do everything pretty well. He shows potential, however there are some missteps here and there. For example, on this fast break, he passes into 2 people instead of taking the easy layup. His pass first nature got the best of him there, but usually it gets the best of the defense. He's also versatile in defense, being able to guard people on the perimeter and also down low. He can also be a decent shot creator, but he needs to work on his efficiency, as 28.8% from the field is not good at any level. I feel like that after a couple more years of playing basketball in England, he could be ready for a jump to a higher plane of pro basketball. Our final international prospect is Ibu Yamazaki, who, to be honest, I'm not even sure is draft eligible this year. He graduated from high school this year, which makes him ineligible. But then again, Leonard Miller both graduated from high school this year, is younger than Yamazaki, and is also draft eligible. So in this case, I'll assume Yamazaki is eligible. Anyways, Ibu Yamazaki is a 6'7" forward who last played for Meisei High School and is currently signed to play for Radford University, a school in Virginia who plays in the Big South Conference NCAA Division I. He also represents Japan internationally, last representing them in 2021 for the FIBA U19 World Cup. In 7 games for Japan, he averaged 14.6 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.1 assists on 45.8% from the field, 43.9% from 3, and 100% from the free throw line. His Winter Cup stats for Meisei is also impressive, but they're incomplete, so I can't give you a full report. Back to his U19 World Cup stuff. In the game I watched, when Japan faced South Korea, he showed offensive abilities, but his defense was lacking. But given his matchup for the whole thing, Jun Suk-yeol averaged 25.6 points for the whole tournament. I feel it was more of his matchup being extremely good than his defense being really bad. He was also able to keep pace with Yo, dropping 32 points to almost match Yo's 36. However, he is still very much a prospect. He was very hit or miss with the shooting, going 2 for 10 and 5 for 15 against Turkey and Senegal respectively, and also going into a slump to start the South Korea game if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But there is a lot of upside with Yamazaki. His length, athleticism, and shot being smooth and on more often than it's not will give both future NBA scouts as well as current Radford fans something to look forward to in the coming years. Now on to the prospects who last played Division III basketball. We'll start off with Calvin Cheek, a 5'10" guard who last played for New England College. In 24 games for the Pilgrims, he averaged 14.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and a nation-leading 5.7 steals per game on 40.8% from the field, 31.1% from 3, and 67.5% from the free throw line. I only watched the first half of his game for Salve Regina, but I was still able to come with a conclusion on Cheek. He's a defensive-first guard, and I mean, you could tell that from the stats. 5.7 steals per game leads all players in all leagues regardless of being pro or semi-pro with at least 15 games played. So he obviously has defensive skill and even higher potential on that end. His offensive skills come into question, however. He over-dribbles sometimes and can make some dumb passes. I mean, even though he was second in his team in scoring, he was middle in the pack when it came to efficiency. He led his team in assists, but also led the team in turnovers. Also, the fact that he led the team in assists at 4.2 per game and the next best, senior guard Kareem Octavian, only had 2.1 assists, says something about the New England offense. I definitely imagine him being a defensive first guy at the next level, but I imagine him needing to up his offensive abilities outside of scoring to make a total impact at the next level. Our next D3 prospect is Bobby Hawkinson, a 6'10" center who last played for NYU. In 25 games for the Violet, Bobby averaged 20.5 points, 13.2 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and 1 steal per game on 65.3% from the field and 66.3% from the free throw line. He also shot 42.9% from 3, but that was only on 7 shots throughout the whole season. In the game I watched, the February 11th game against Case Western Reserve, basically tells a story of 2 halves. In the first half against Case, case, he had trouble with a constant double team from Case Western's defenders, but as time went on, he found ways to break the double team, whether it be in transition, through passes in a half-court set, or by driving into the paint. He was also able to guard the paint and perimeter, which shows he has defensive versatility. The one problem I was able to find with the game is that he almost exclusively plays on the left side for some reason, which could be easy to stop on the next level. But overall, he's an athletic big man who can both run the floor and play decent defense, but a lack of three-point shooting and left side exclusivity can cause him a few problems at the next level. Our last D3 prospect is Andrew Finch, a 7'1" center who last played for SUNY Canton of the North Atlantic Conference. In 23 games for the Roos, he averaged 8.7 points, 9.2 rebounds, and a nation-leading 4.4 blocks per game on 53.6% from the field, 20% from 3, and 71.8% from the free throw line. 4.4 blocks per game is actually third among all players in any league with at least 25 games played. I don't know if the game I watched is a bad game for him, or if it's just that he just stands in the paint a lot, but I don't know if his game will probably translate to the next level. He just, kinda stands there. Menacingly! And while that's good for getting blocks and easy rebounds, it shows up in his stats, 4.4 blocks and almost having 3 offensive rebounds per game, but besides that, he doesn't really do much. Think of a Sean Bradley or Manute Bol. Actually, I think Manute Bol might fit better because at least Andrew shoots threes at a rate of about 2 per game, and Manute Bol is a tall man who shot threes from time to time. Now on to Division II, and the only prospect I covered, which is Seth Stanley, a 6'7" forward from Hendrix College. In the 2021-2022 season for the Warriors, Stanley averaged 18.8 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game on 47.2% from the field, 42.5% from 3, and 84.1% from the free throw line. Similar to Van der Rust of Rees, I imagine Stanley being an offensive spark plug off the bench. However, I project him to be more of a three-point shooting guy rather than an all-around offensive leader. I would relate this to some plays from the game I watched. It was an exhibition game versus Arkansas Tech, but, well, let me pull back the curtain a little bit. Stanley was actually the first person I scouted, so my notes aren't that deep. I actually didn't add any timestamps from the game I watched. As a person who's basically attempting full scouting for the first time with this video, that's something I picked up on doing after doing it a couple times, but not for this one. But you know who I did do timestamps for? Most of the Division I guys, so let's get to them. They've all declared for the draft, so I can do them in any order. So I'll start off with Quace Glover, a 6-foot guard from Samford. In 29 games for the Bulldogs this season, he averaged 19.2 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 4.4 assists, as well as 1.2 steals on 46.8% from the field, 30.8% from 3, and 78.9% from the free throw line. Quace is a shifty guard, using his speed to both make for himself and for others. He's an offensive specialist with actual questions on defense. While he does make good plays, there are more times where his defense leaves more to be desired. Another D1 draft prospect is Keo Akabundu Higoyu, a 6'9" forward who last played for UT Arlington, but is committed to play for Memphis if he decides to return next season, as he hasn't officially withdrawn from the draft. Also, I'm writing the script for the NCAA withdrawal date. Figured I'd bring it up now because I've had no need to bring it up until now. Anyways, in 29 games for the Mavericks last season, he averaged 4.7 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 2.6 blocks on 67.4% from the field, and 85.7% from the free throw line. When I see KO's tape, I can only see two things, which are athleticism and potential. KO is a 47.5-inch vertical and can touch the top of the fucking backboard. He also boasts a 7'4" wingspan. But the thing that sticks out the most to me is the fact that he's only been playing competitive basketball since he was 15 and has played Division I basketball the past 2 years, and is also committed to play at a high mid-major next season, which shows me that he's probably closer to the floor of his skills than his ceiling. If he goes to the right team at the next level, I've seen the Lakers and Hornets as possible names, or the right team in college, and I trust Penny Hardaway's ability to develop talent, I can imagine him being a good rim-running all-defense guy at his peak of his powers, similar to Rudy Gobert, Robert Williams, or Mitchell Robinson. I'll definitely keep tabs on KO's career to see how everything pans out for him in the future. Our last prospect for the video is Tyke Green, and honestly he's my favorite prospect out of the bunch, and it sucks that the only highlight reel I can find of him specifically is from high school. Anyways, the 6'4" guard played 32 games for the Stony Brook Seawolves last season and averaged 14 points, 8.1 rebounds, 1.1 assists, and 1.4 steals on 52% from the field, 42.6% from 3, and 64.6% from the free throw line. 8.1 rebounds is impressive for a guard in any conference, and it's also impressive that Green led the America East in rebounds, out-rebounding people taller than him. Tyke is definitely the positionless player that NBA teams are looking for. At 6'4", he can guard the paint and perimeter.
NJIT, they know their game. They're 6 of 10 from the interior. Coleman going inside out, batted by Roberts.
He can create for himself and others.
Off the heel, Green steals the board from halfway. Too easy for Tyke. 10.5 minutes remain. Looking for their 10th America East win.
And also do this at a high level. Definitely reminds me of Draymond Green in terms of versatility, or if we're going more guard-specific approach, Josh Richardson. That guy brings a nice mix of everything to the table, and I'm surprised he hasn't gotten as much attention as he deserves. And well, that's the end of the list. I will shout out St. Peter's Casey and Defo though, who I had scouted for the video, but the day I finished the script he withdrew from the draft and transferred to Seton Hall to play his last year of college basketball. He's a great defensive wing who I imagine will receive draft attention if he repeats the success he had last season this year for Shaheen Holloway and Seton Hall. I also want to make a season preview for St. Peter's, as Jesus Christ that roster is completely different. Also, I feel like scouting these players has made me appreciate the game of basketball more, and honestly I do hope to make this kind of video each year around draft time. I'll also try to watch more than one game for each prospect for the video next year, which I had to do this time around in order to get the video out before the NBA draft. But yeah, that's the end of the list, and it's also the end of the video, so see you in the next one.